Hello to everybody. The following thematic unit entitled Design Thinking refers to the conceptual approach and analysis of the design thinking process and its applied operation. Particular emphasis is placed on the structure of procedures and their practice as a problem-solving process. This section covers the following subjects: introductory and conceptual approach of design thinking, design thinking in practice. What is the nature of design thinking? Design thinking procedures. The principles of mental perception and mindset of design thinking. Design thinking as an applied process in areas of productive and social activities. Standardization in design thinking. Design thinking and when it is applied. Design thinking, creativity, art thinking, innovation. Case studies. At the end of this module, the participant will have a documented knowledge about design thinking as a complete process in the problem-solving approach in the social, academic, scientific and business fields. The participant will have the opportunity to gain specific knowledge about the procedures, conditions, and tools that shape the environment of a specialized process such as design thinking. The selection and analysis of 2 case studies concerning design thinking helps participants to develop their critical thinking further. Definition of design thinking. Shute and Becker in 2010 argued that in a world of high technology and global competitiveness, it is necessary to develop and use different skill sets than in the past for somebody to be successful. Such a basic skill is called design thinking. The skill of design thinking is generally defined as an analytical and creative process, where an individual experiments, creates and standardizes models, which are the result of redesigning his collective experiences, knowledge, experiences, etc. Design thinkers are individuals or working teams that deal with design thinking, hereinafter referred to as designers. Design thinkers focus their creative and analytical skills on creating solutions, while controlling and optimizing them, avoiding overanalyzing the problem they face. The strategy in the creating proposed solutions, which are analyzed, evaluated and improved, constitutes a key element of design thinking. The skill of design thinking is generally defined as an analytical and creative process where an individual experiments, creates and standardizes models, which are the result of redesigning his or her collective experiences, knowledge, experiences, etc. Design thinking is the integration of different elements into a system and refers to as a cognitive style, as a general theory of design, as a resource for organizations. Origin and historical reference. Design thinking has been part of the collective consciousness of design researchers since it was used as a term in the book by Peter Rowe, professor of urban design at Harvard University in 1987. In the last 20 years, various models have been formed in design thinking, which are based on different approaches and perspectives of design thinking, applying theories and models from the methodology of psychology, education, etc. Nowadays, design thinking has emerged as a new approach to dealing with and solving problems in many professions, with a predominant application in IT and business. Design thinking in practice. Bill Moggridge, the co-founder of innovation and design firm, IDEO, underlines that design thinking begins with skills that designers have developed for many decades in their effort to co-shape human needs with the available technical resources, in the context of the operation and capabilities of businesses. By combining what is humanly desirable with what is technologically feasible and financially viable, designers have been able to create the products we enjoy today. Design thinking takes the next step, which is to put these tools in the hands of people who may never have thought of themselves as designers and apply them to a much wider range of problems. Eventually, Design thinking is essentially a specially designed problem-solving approach, which involves evaluating known aspects of a problem and identifying the most ambiguous or peripheral factors that contribute to a problem. This contrasts with a more scientific approach, in which specific and known aspects are tested in order to find a solution. In practice, design thinking is an iterative process in which knowledge is challenged and acquired to help us redefine a problem in an effort to identify alternative strategies and solutions that may not be immediately apparent to our initial level of understanding. At the heart of design thinking is the intention to improve products by analyzing how users interact with them and exploring the conditions under which they operate. Design thinking offers us a means to dig a little deeper and discover ways to improve the user experience. The characteristics of a design thinker. The person or team that designs and implements the design thinking process is called a design thinker. The basic characteristics of a design thinker are summarized as follows. 1. Focus on people and the environment. Means that designers should always think about every creation which human needs are served and how. 2. Ability to visualize. Means that designers work with visualizing, transforming ideas into images. 3. Tendency to multifunctionality. Means that designers should approach a problem and see different and multifaceted solutions. They need to keep in mind the big picture of the problem, as they focus on the individual details. 4. Global view. Means that designers should treat problems as a system with possibilities and opportunities for global solutions, by introducing different processes and designs to create a holistic solution. 5. Ability to use the language as a tool. Means that designers should be able to orally explain their creative process that leads to their understanding when details are absent, and any related wording is not clearly visible, e.g., any explanation should go hand in hand with the creative process. 6. Direct relevance in relationship with teamwork. Means that designers need to develop interpersonal skills that allow them to communicate and work with other people. 7. Avoiding a choice out of necessity. Means that designers search for competitive alternatives before taking their next step, or before making a choice or decision. They are trying to find ways to bring out new compositions. This process leads to solutions that avoid the decision and compose the best possible choice. The processes of design thinking. Design thinking processes are characterized as repetitive, exploratory, and sometimes chaotic. They begin with a brief introductory wording and end with a detailed description of a product in which its characteristics are gradually refined. Conflicting descriptions regarding the characteristics of a product may be included in the intermediate stages of the process, so that at the end, a substantiated and complete proposal is formed. Design thinking is an iterative process. Designers in design thinking, whether active in the creative arts or productive entrepreneurship, tend to explore and solve problems through a process of repetition. The path that designers follow is to produce and create in a short time solutions, which are in the form of integrated proposals, to develop simple prototypes that capture their proposal on a hybrid level, then follow an iterative process in relation to the initial solutions, suggestions, supported by important external information. Design thinking is therefore better understood as a describing an iterative process rather than a linear sequence of sequential steps, as shown in the following table. During the design thinking process, designers follow these steps. Preparation. Designers must know from the beginning the field in which they should focus, and of course to shape the image and the characteristics of the object to be studied. Focus on defining the problem. Understanding and definition stages. Simulation. Designers receive the feedback by the information they acquire from experimenting with standards, either through internal processes or through the input of selected external users. Knowledge form the prototype, create new ideas. Changes and prototype stages. Strategic control. Designers will have to make several decisions around the design process. Test, create new ideas for the plan. Knowledge about the product of service users. Test, reveal information that redesign the plan. Test stage. Finally, it is necessary to adopt a strategic control that will make the following findings evaluations. A. What is the initial idea? B. What is the process for its editing? C. What are the possibilities for any potential corrections, adjustments? D. What are the problems and what are the priorities? The principles of mental perception and mentality of design thinking. Design thinking is mainly a way of thinking and acting, which is expressed and implemented as a structured process. At the same time, design thinking is a mentality, a set of perceptions and statements, with special characteristics that compose and define the whole process in an original way. Anthropocentrically, the perception and priority focus on the fact that a product is oriented to a technological application and to a primary focus on the values, experiences and needs of people. Cross-sectoral and collectively, design thinking is the result of a collective effort in which teams from different scientific and professional backgrounds work together and are open to different perspectives. Holistically and with an integrated approach, design thinking should have the skills to perceive and distinguish relationships, interactions and connections between obviously diverse ideas. This means that they have to be able to manage knowledge, synergies and compositions in the final result. Flexible and familiarly with ambiguity, design thinking is the best method to manage ambiguity and doubt by defining a problem and the opportunities. Many-sided and with communication skills. The desire and the skill of designers to communicate and work simultaneously in different forms and types of communication such as verbal, visual and tactile without limits and barriers. Developing an open mental perception and mentality. The desire of designers to test ideas, designs and prototypes in an effort to understand without the barrier of fear, failure and rejection. That is why they are open to any form of exposure. Design thinking in productive and social activities fields. Tools of design thinking. The questions: what is it? What if? Wow. What works? Express and compose a different stage of the design thinking process, meaning. The question, what is it, examines the current situation. The what if question is used from the first stage of considering a variety of options to create a future proposal. The question, wow, what, helps business executives make their choices about what to focus on first, and what appears to be of particular interest. The question, what works, takes them to the real world to interact with end users through small experiments. Design thinking, as an extroverted anthropocentric process, utilizes the structural elements that characterize it, highlighting the required solutions. There are 10 interactive tools of design thinking that facilitate any proposed process and proposed approach. 1. Depiction. Use the imagination to consider the possibilities and to transfer them to reality. 2. Mapping. Evaluating the existing experience through the eyes of customers. 3. Value chain analysis. Evaluation of the existing value chain, which enhances the customer journey. 4. Intellectual mapping. Knowledge production and experience from the exploration of actions and their use to create design criteria. 5. Brainstorming. Production of new possibilities and new alternative business models. 6. Plan development. Correlation of innovative elements with a coherent alternative that can be explored and evaluated. 7. Conclusions test. The key conclusions that lead to the success or failure of the project are isolated and checked. 8. Quick standardization. Formulation of the design in a final form for reasons of investigation, testing, improvement. 9. Customers' participation. Participation of customers in the creative process in order to make the final design meet their needs. 10. Knowledge acquisition from the circulation. Creating a financially feasible experiment, where the design is left to customers for a period of time, to check the proposed design, and draw conclusions with market data. Design thinking. Fields of application. Design thinking is generally suitable as an application in situations where a problem or the exploration of an opportunity is not clearly defined, or the invention of an important idea or plan is required, which have a great and positive effect, such as a new market or the opportunity to develop a business plan and increase revenue. Design thinking methods have been developed and used successfully in different ways in many business areas and the design of new business models in a variety of improvement processes. Design thinking, as an approach, is more useful and efficient in exploring and finding new solutions that address the most important needs of customers, and often replace the traditional and classic ways of developing new products. In the following areas, design thinking can help for the best possible suggestions and solutions. Redefining the value. Anthropocentric innovation. Life quality. Problems affecting different groups of people. Resolve issues involving multiple systems. Change of markets and attitudes. Dealing with rapid social change or market changes. Issues related to organization culture. Issues related to new technology. Inventing new business models. Dealing with rapid changes in society. Dealing with complex unsolved social challenges. Scenarios involving interdisciplinary teams. Business initiatives. Educational developments. Medical discoveries. Whatever involves inspiration. Problems that existing data cannot solve. Standardization in design thinking. Standardization is a function of design thinking that contributes to the evaluation and validation of the ideas produced. Thus, standardization supports the transformation of an idea into a workable and tangible concept. Standardization works through two different perspectives. A. From the point of view of the project team. As an idea is formed, it is necessary to make an internal detailed elaboration between the participants of the project team, and to increase the level of fidelity of the proposed solution through the existing process. B. From the point of view of customers' final users. With the interactions at the different levels of model creation, the final user, e.g., customer user of the product or service, is able, through a test process, to evaluate it by offering feedback on its development and improvement. What is the necessity of the standardization process? Standardization reduces ambiguities and doubts about the proposed project, as it acts like a quick fix for withdrawing alternatives that may not be particularly acceptable to the project. The standardization process begins with the formulation of questions that must be answered in conjunction with ideal solutions. Models are then created and evaluated in a continuous and iterative process until the project team arrives at a documented solution in full alignment with the needs of the customer's final users and the corresponding interest of the company. The methodology of standardization follows a specific iterative process, which is formulation of questions, developing a prototype, testing, assessment, completion. The standards can be prototypes on a paper presentation, 3D illustrations from simple materials, storytelling, presentation of the operation of a prototype, design thinking, creativity, art thinking and innovation. Design thinking as an approach is more useful and efficient in exploring and finding new solutions that address the most important needs of customers and often replace the traditional and classic ways of developing new products. The application of design thinking is more widespread in mature markets where radical innovation is not usually required. Design thinking is generally suitable as an application in situations where a problem or the exploration of an opportunity is not clearly defined, or the invention of an important idea or plan is required, which have a great and positive effect. In addition, design thinking is an attractive proposal for adoption and implementation for the cultural and creative industries. Design thinking guides a company using creativity and insightfulness in order to identify in depth the needs of customers and to have empathy towards the final users. On the other hand, design thinking has some limitations, especially in the field of culture and creativity. By placing the customer user at the heart of an innovative process, design thinking can lead to gradually evolving rather than directly radical ideas that lead to uniquely innovative products. Thus, art thinking comes as a new perspective, highlighting the potential of the company in undisputed spaces. Design thinking, with its anthropocentric character, operates in an area with more commonplace and limited ideas. Art thinking has the capacity to offer space to the professionals, creators involved, and to release them from the imperative need of empirical customer engagement by offering more creativity and radical groundbreaking choices as an internal creative process. Design thinking and innovation. Design thinking is directly related to innovation but is not identified with it. Innovation refers to a community of people who adopt a new practice that is created by a designer, usually through a technical creation or process. The case where design thinking can accelerate an innovation is when the stage of conceiving new ideas, which constitutes a necessary structural element of an innovation, is blocked by their lack. Case studies in design thinking. The New York Metropolitan Opera (MET) case. James Young, an expert on innovation and design thinking, provides the advantages and effectiveness of design thinking process towards MET and ticket sales reduction. The problem. According to the box office, the Met found out that 2/3 of the total number of tickets were sold at the end of the artistic period, a performance slightly reduced but very worrying as well. Ticket recovery ideas were interesting, but many of them had already been tried in the past with little success. The proposal sponsors, supporters, subscribers and the public is the target group of MET. The main target of MET is current and future ticket sponsors and buyers. As next step, design thinker should assemble his team and start a cycle of exchange of experiences, ideas and proposed solutions without any judgment, and then evaluate and limit the proposed solutions to a functional number. Once the above step is done, the potential solutions must be proposed to the public and the sponsors, and of course they have to be prototyped and tested quickly in order to identify which of the proposed solutions provably work. Conclusions. The cultural and creative sector, which is facing some declining situations, must enter a process of introspection and subversive process. Introspection and reversal can be defined as a practical decisions to solve problems and create solutions, with the intention and pursuit of improving future results. Apollo 13, the mission of NASA to the Moon case. The Apollo 13 mission was a crewed spaceflight as part of NASA's Apollo program, aimed at conquering and landing humans on the Moon. During the flight, though, an explosion occurred in one of the spacecraft's oxygen tanks. The problem: the safe transport of astronauts to Earth after the explosion, and the need for an immediate solution from the NASA Control Center in Houston. The problem was solved thanks to design thinking approach and process. The setup of specialized project team of NASA Control Center in Houston applied the following steps. Step 1. Capturing the current situation. Step 2. Innovative design. Step 3. Locating the resources. Step 4. Brainstorming. Step 5. Create a proposal. Step 6. Model construction. Step 7. Evaluation, checking. Step 8. Use of the model by the final users.